Hello and welcome to Creator Weekly. I'm Peggy Kay, and this week, of course, there are updates from YouTube. There are always updates from YouTube, but there's also big updates this week from Beehiiv, Patreon, Buffer, TikTok, Twitch, and a bunch more. So thank you for joining me today. I'd love to hear what you think about this week's updates in the comments. So let's get started with a YouTube update. So the first update I want to talk about this week is about YouTube hype. What is hype? You can hype a recent video from channels that are monetized, I believe, that have between 500 and 500,000 subscribers. If you hype a video, it has to be been posted within the past week. And it gets a certain number of points. And the points depend on how many subscribers the channel has. There's some prorating going on to kind of level the playing field. And then there's a leaderboard. You can see the top 100 hyped videos. So there's a couple updates. The first thing is that you can now create a post when you hype a video. So you hype the video. You can then create a post on your YouTube channel. It says, hey, I hyped this video, and maybe it gets a little momentum then. The other update is that there are now category-specific leaderboards: gaming, beauty, sports, food, and so forth. And so you can go and see this in the mobile app. You see the hype leaderboards. There's an overall leaderboard, and then there's category-specific leaderboards. And the leaderboards are country-specific as well. So also on YouTube, when you're on a channel tab, so you go to the videos tab on a channel, you can now filter public or member-only videos. So you can see which videos you can access on that channel. They're not removing the filters that let you sort the videos by latest, popular, and oldest. They're there in a drop-down menu. Oh, and I'll note that this change is first rolling out on mobile, eventually be on desktop as well. So the last YouTube update that I wanted to talk about today is a new AI feature. YouTube is testing AI-generated comment summaries for creators. And this is in the YouTube Studio mobile app. You go to the information about a specific video, you go to the comments tab for that, and then there's like a button that says you can get a comment summary. And the idea is if you're getting tons of comments on a video, this will kind of give you the overall picture. This is currently only available to a small group of creators, but it will eventually roll out to everyone. I want to say hello to everybody who joined me today live. Thanks for joining me. I see Andrew and Craig in the live chat. If you're here watching, I'd love to hear what you think about this week's updates. Let me know in the comments or in the live chat. So, as I mentioned this week, the bigger, interesting updates, I think, are not from YouTube. I'm going to stick with videos for a couple minutes. And on TikTok, creators can create bulletin boards. This is one-to-many posting. So it's not like social post. Instead, it's like broadcasting. And the idea is this helps build your community. The creator create the bulletin board, give it a title, and then fans can join it. The fans get notified when the creator makes a post. It could be updates, news, exclusive content, that kind of thing. And then the fan can react with an emoji, but they can't comment on the post. So this is available to TikTok creators with at least 50,000 followers. You have to be at least 18 years old. And over on Twitch, this is not a surprising update. They are starting to require that UK users verify their age. This is in compliance with the UK Online Safety Act. YouTube, most platforms are doing this now. So even if you're over 18, you still have to verify your age. And this is to view certain content. Twitch says it's content labeled with sexual themes, drugs, intoxication, or excessive tobacco use, violent and graphic depictions, or gambling. And they use a third-party processor to actually do this. I can tell reading on Reddit that a lot of users aren't happy to have to do this. If you're in the UK, talk to your representatives there and express that you think this law is perhaps overreaching. But platforms really don't have a choice, I don't think. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of live streaming updates. We talked previously, YouTube has a new feature where you can live stream in both the vertical and landscape orientation at the same time, but you have to do that from within the live control room. Now you're starting to see third-party services implement this. So the first is on StreamYard. If you're using StreamYard for streaming, you can do simultaneous landscape and portrait streaming. You can do it to different platforms. So you can do landscape to YouTube and then vertical to Instagram or something like that. But they say specifically that this supports the new YouTube dual format streaming as well. And Restream, which is the platform I'm using right now, they announced simultaneous vertical and horizontal streaming, but you have to use their plugin for OBS to do this. It's not available in their web interface, unfortunately, not yet. And they don't actually mention specifically the YouTube's dual format streaming, although I assume that's on their roadmap to support that. So that is, the current live streaming, what do you call it? The meta? I don't know. It's the feature everyone's rolling out. And then just a quick note that Elgato's music and sound effects library was just removed. So they completely removed it. And if you have a video using any of that music, for example, published before November 15th, it's fine. But anything going forward, it's no longer licensed. So if you've downloaded music from the library, you can't use it going forward because it's no longer licensed. So if you have videos that you're editing that may use some of these files, you're going to need to find a different music source. The YouTube audio library has free music you can use. And that's one of the things that Elgato recommends. So double check that. And music licensing is super complicated. If you are a creator using music, I recommend you at least keep a list of your sources of music and the license information so that if there is a claim on your video, you can then refute that, assuming you have the correct license. And of course, make sure you have the correct license. So the big update, big announcements this week was from Beehiiv. So Beehiiv is a newsletter platform. And again, just to disclose, that's the newsletter platform that I use. So obviously pay attention to it. But they are positioning themselves as the operating system for the content economy. And so this is supposed to, I think, be more competitive with things like Substack that has a whole bunch of features beyond newsletters. And in this big release, they announced a bunch of things. And I'm going to mention that some of these require a paid account. Some of them are available with a free account. So the first thing is it's still a newsletter platform. There's new newsletter templates. If you subscribe to my newsletter, you should do that. There's a link in the video description. It comes out every Saturday. I'll probably be refreshing the format on that when I get a chance. There's an AI-powered website builder. You can use that for free. So you make a landing page and it has all your newsletters as posts if you want. There are some advanced features, though, that are only available with paid accounts. They have detailed analytics for your website. Makes sense, right? And then a big announcement is that you can sell digital products. So these are things like PDFs, or I assume like music, any digital files that you have the rights to sell, you can sell them, and Beehiiv does not take a cut. Now, this is only available with paid plans. So you're already paying Beehiiv, but it's a flat fee that covers everything. They're not taking another cut on top of that when you sell digital products. They are also adding podcast functionality. And this not only lets you add a feed of your podcast to your website, so it shows the latest episodes, it will also show episode pages. And it automatically synchronizes so that it's always the latest podcast there. And the advantage is, again, you have everything in one place. You have a landing page, it has your newsletter, and you can also add a YouTube channel RSS feed of new uploaded videos. So you have one place to send people. This is your website. You can add a custom domain as well. And then it also has this cute thing where you can create a little link in bio page. This is mobile friendly. It's something like Linktree, where you have basically just a list of buttons of links. It's something you put in your profile on social media, or that you can put on a card or share. And it just puts all those links in a nice format. And again, it's all on the same platform as your website and your newsletter and your podcast and so forth. So one-stop shop. And then there are more advanced features like automations, which require a paid account. The pricing on Beehiiv, if you have up to 2,500 subscribers to your newsletter, you can do it for free. You have to pay if you want some more advanced features, or if you have more subscribers than that. But they charge a flat monthly fee, as opposed to Substack, which takes, I think, 10% off the top of any revenue you gain. So for Substack, it's really great to get started that way. 10% of not very much revenue is not a lot. But if you're getting lots and lots of followers on Substack that are paying, 10% of a much larger amount turns out to be much more that you'd be paying each month than you'd be paying Beehiiv. So that is their selling point. It's interesting now, we started out newsletters, but really we're getting new content management platforms, some with social features. Beehiiv has not added so many social features yet. That's more a Substack thing. The other update this week for social media, I think, is kind of useful, is from Buffer. Now, Buffer is a social media post management platform. You can schedule posts and so forth. They have a new community feature that lets you see and reply to comments on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, Bluesky, X, and LinkedIn. And they say they're going to add TikTok comments soon. You can actually access this with a free account, up to 3 social media channels. So you can pick your top 3, and you can reply to comments, and you can turn those comments, replies those comments, into new posts on those platforms. And they say the reason why you should do this is that it boosts engagement. They have some numbers, I don't know how good they are. So they say, for example, on Threads, replying to comments can boost engagement 42%. LinkedIn 30%, Instagram 21%, Facebook 9%, X 8%, and Bluesky 5%. The take-home lesson there is if you are posting on social media and people are commenting on your posts, you should take the time to reply. Buffer helps you do that. And again, you can do 3 social media channels for free. In the comments, Aaron says, link. All the links to things I'm talking about this week are in this week's newsletter. There's a link in the description of the video. But if you just go to buffer.com, you can create an account there and see what the options are. Same with Beehiiv. But again, links are in the video description. Patreon is also getting more social, and they are launching changes to improve discovery. So the idea is that you sponsor creators on Patreon, but how do you find new creators to sponsor? Well, this is supposed to help. In the home feed, they are making recommendations based on existing overlaps of fan communities. So it's not just tailored a For You feed. They say it's not based on user attention, but on interest. So if you've sponsored a bunch of, I don't know, gaming channels, maybe they'll show more gamers, that sort of thing. They also have added Quips. Quips allow creators to make a post that just goes to the home feed. It's not behind a paywall, even if all their other regular posts are paywalled. Again, these are small, short posts that are supposed to attract more patrons, ideally. And you can put images and videos and so forth. And they've also launched collab posts. So you collaborate with another creator and the post goes out to both. Again, there can be cross-pollination there. So Patreon is trying to get people more followers. The other thing they're doing is merging creator fan identities and creator identities into one. You see here in the example, there's obviously a creator page and then there's an individual fan page. Those are getting merged together. I'm not sure that's necessarily good. I can kind of see how that might work if you want people to engage. They can engage as the creator page, but they might want to engage as individuals sometimes too. I don't know how well that works. A quick note that Facebook is going to discontinue the like button and comment button that you see on websites. So, on my blog, I have a like button. That's all going away in February. It's just going to stop working. Facebook says you don't need to remove the code. It shouldn't screw up the layout of your website or anything, but if the code doesn't work, you may want to remove it. They say, why is this happening? The plugins that will be discontinued reflect an earlier era of web development, and their usage has naturally declined as the digital landscape has evolved. I think the bottom line is people are more on social media rather than individual websites, and they're liking things there. And then the last thing I want to talk about is a really interesting thing. Do you remember Vine? Vine was a big deal. It had 6-second looping videos. There's a lot of people on YouTube and Twitch maybe also who started on Vine in their youth. Vine was acquired by Twitter almost immediately after it launched. So Twitter owned Vine. And after a few years, they decided to kill it. So Vine was shut down in early 2017. Some of the video features were incorporated into Twitter. But people always lament it's gone. And now there's this big announcement. There's a new platform called Divine, and it's being supported by the ex-co-founder and CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey. It's on the decentralized Nostr protocol, which again, Dorsey also supports. But what makes this really stand out, this is not just creating the same features. They say they have more than 100,000 archived Vine videos. This is restored from a backup made by a group called the Archive Team, so not affiliated with Twitter or Vine or anything. They made this backup before Vine shut down. It's just a snapshot of the videos that were there in late 2016 or so. And so there were millions of Vines. 100,000 is just a drop in the bucket, but they're starting with that. They're going to make profiles, and there's going to be some way for creators to claim their profiles. This seems kind of dubious to me, that they are taking these old videos from a platform that's shut down and then recreating people's profiles. Seems like there would probably be copyright issues, and we'll see what happens to that. You know, creators can file a copyright takedown. And of course, the elephant in the room is that Twitter owned this platform and of course has the real archived data. Twitter is now X, and Elon Musk has said, oh, we're going to restore Vine. So I have this suspicion he's not going to be super psyched. It's like this Vine alternative is being launched. There may be drama there. We'll see what happens, but you can actually go to the web version of Divine and see what's there. People are uploading new videos there. Again, there's a link in this week's newsletter. So those were the big updates this week. I want to say thanks to everyone for joining me today. I see Nina and Craig and Jolyn and Andrew and everyone. So, Nina says, why are the archives not deleted? Well, X owns the official archives. It's their intellectual property, but this was made by an archive made by a third-party group, sort of like the Internet Archive, but not the same. And yeah, the whole point was to rescue a part of Internet history. I think there's some arguments to be made there, whether that's good or not. Yeah, I just want to take a quick minute to talk about what was happening 10 years ago. I'm doing this to celebrate 10 years of my newsletter. Year's almost over, so I'll have like a recap in December about the bigger themes. But let's talk about what was happening. 10 years ago this week, the YouTube Music app launched. Now, this was not a big surprise. It had been launched, the YouTube Music app had actually been announced as something that was coming when YouTube Red launched. The previous month, YouTube Red is now YouTube Premium. So the idea is that a subscription gives you access to ad-free music streaming, and it would create radio stations based on your interests and so forth. And just as a reminder, back in June of 2015, Apple Music had launched. And again, the key feature was that you wouldn't be purchasing individual songs. You paid for a subscription that covered streaming all the music that you wanted to stream. So this was a different business model than what Apple Music had been doing before, or what Google had been doing before, because Google had Google Play Music, and that let you purchase individual songs or even upload your own music tracks. And, you know, this was a replacement for Google Play Music. At the time this launched, the YouTube Red subscriptions and Google Play Music subscriptions, they kind of worked both ways. You could get one with the other, but Google finally shut down Google Play Music 5 years later in 2020. They let people migrate to YouTube Music at the time, but people aren't listening to their own purchased music so much anymore. They're just listening to music streams. And I want to mention that what set YouTube apart. So what YouTube Music could do that Apple could not was link these music videos and music tracks to YouTube's video platform. So this not only included the official songs, you could get remixes, covers, lyric videos, concert footage, all these additional things around the music that you were interested in listening to. And here we are 10 years later, there's still YouTube Music, and you can get that as a subscription, either on its own or with YouTube Premium. And again, what sets us apart from other streaming services is the connection to the main YouTube platform and community and creator features. For example, as a creator, you can create a podcast on your YouTube channel that's then available as a podcast in YouTube Music. And if you're a fan, you can share comments on albums, comments on playlists. There's special badges if you're a top fan. All these things meant to build community as well. So is this working? The question is, you look at numbers like this, and YouTube Music is approaching Apple Music as a streaming platform, but it's nowhere close to Spotify. So Spotify, on its part, is getting into things like podcasts and videos itself because it sees that as important, but Spotify is still winning music streaming as well. If you talk about music discovery right now, TikTok, huge in music discovery. I'm not sure how much that actually happens on YouTube, and it's because on TikTok, the way they have it set up, people use a track and it kind of goes viral. So it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out. Competition is good, but again, none of these platforms have what YouTube has, which is this full ecosystem for creators and artists to use music, have concert footage, make covers, all these things that no one else has. So those are the updates for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, Andrew says, at one time, Vine was almost known as kudzu. Ah, yes. So kudzu, is a vine that grows like crazy and covers everything. I think it would be interesting to see how X responds to this, or more particularly how Elon Musk responds to this, because he's made some statements saying, oh, we're going to revive Vine, Of course, it hasn't happened. It's not clear people would even be into it necessarily on X. And I think a lot of the creators who were on Vine a decade ago maybe don't want all that revived when their old Vines revived. So, I think people like Jake Paul and Mr. Beast and that crowd of young dudes started on Vine. So those are this week's updates. Thank you so much for joining me today. Yes, give me a like. Subscribe to my newsletter. If you have additional questions or comments, you can post them after the video is over. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you all next Sunday.